Don't you know who I am? I'm the Juggernaut. What's up, you guys? Welcome back again to your Heroclix headquarters. Today, I thought it'd be a good time to talk about the top 5 Juggernauts in Heroclix. So without further ado, let's get to the list. Alright, starting us off at number 5, I've got the new Legacy Juggernaut from Smash and Destroy. He's got a ton of keywords. He's got the Brotherhood of Mutants team ability coming in at 80 points, and he's got a trait that says Power, destroy all blocking terrain markers within 3 squares of Juggernaut. That's pretty cool, although I'd rather just use his improved movement to destroy that. He has improved movement for characters and to destroy blocking anyway, so you could just move through it. Don't really need to take that power action. But if you do play him with that one damage control guy that says all the damage control traits can be used as free instead, then it is a pretty neat trait to just free destroy a bunch of blocking terrain. But regardless, he has another trait which gives him super strength and power. Move, then make a close attack targeting all adjacent opposing characters, and all opposing characters Juggernaut move through this action regardless of adjacency. Now, this is a really powerful trait. Oddly enough, I wish it didn't include the super strength part, because we do have the new Crimson Gem equipment, which could go on to any Juggernaut for free, which does grant super strength and improved movement, destroys blocking. I think this would be a perfect character to not give those things and just kind of, give you a reason to give him that or something. But it just means you can equip him with something else, so that is really cool. And anyway, like I said, this trait is really powerful because he can just move his full speed, and then when he makes a close attack targeting all characters, all adjacent opposing characters to where he ends his movement, and all the opposing characters he moved through, regardless of adjacency, and that attack is going to deal his damage value to everybody he moved through. Because this is not using targeting bolts to select different targets. That's the only thing that actually requires you split your damage. And it doesn't say anywhere, like with Quake or something, that you have to deal a certain amount of damage to each hit character. It doesn't say deal his printed damage. It doesn't say, everybody takes 2 or 3 or whatever. Because it just makes an attack that targets all these characters. Automatically, you're just dealing your normal damage value to those characters. So he could potentially deal as much as 7 damage to somebody if you're top dial, if you end your movement next to like 3 characters with power or something, or maybe because he's got mystical, you could also just have Cthon to up his damage. He can deal massive damage this way, so he is very, very powerful for that. He also has traded willpower and safeguard mind control and outwit, so he's very durable as well, and that willpower always helps. But also, when an opposing character deals Juggernaut penetrating damage after resolutions, deal that character 1 unavoidable damage. So it's kind of like Mystics for only when he gets dealt penetrating damage. Now, the only key thing here is that he can be dealt penetrating damage, and that is his biggest weakness. You can take this guy down with 1 or 2 good hits of some penetrating damage and just get rid of him that way. But besides that, he's very durable. Like I said, he's got a ton of damage potential, and this is a very, very solid legacy card. I think the only thing that I don't like about this legacy card is it does nothing with his removable helmet. This guy actually has a removable helmet, and that was kind of his whole thing when this, when they actually made this character. You could, when he took a certain amount of damage, he removes the helmet, and then you could pick it back up, blah, blah, blah. There was some cool stuff. It was a fun thing. I kind of wish they would have incorporated that somehow into the legacy card. But regardless, he's a very powerful figure. We're starting off real strong with this top 5 list. So for all those reasons, he's coming in at number 5. Coming in at number 4 for me, we have the new Chase Juggernaut from Smash and Destroy as well. Again, he's got some pretty good keyword selections there. He's got Brotherhood of Mutants and X-Men team abilities, which is funny because we'll get to that later. But anyway, he has traded Impervious, but succeeds on a 4-6. That's awesome. And then he also has friendly characters with the Brute keyword within 4 squares have Safeguard Outwit. That does, of course, count himself. He he is a friendly character, and he is within 4 squares of himself. So he's Safeguard Outwit, and you've got Impervious on a 4-6. And then his next trait, if Juggernaut would take penetrating damage, he takes 1 unavoidable damage instead. Again, that's super good. It's not stopping penetrating damage altogether, but just giving him 1 unavoidable as opposed to potentially a lot more. So he's incredibly durable. And, you know, starting off, those stats are insane. 12 attack, 20 defense, 5 damage with leadership, willpower, super strength. I mean, 225 points is a lot, though. And, you know, even at 145, it's pretty solid, but he drops to 18 defense instead of 20, so I don't really like that one as much. And he trades in that super strength for Quake, which, you know, depends, but still a pretty solid dial. He does also have the improved movement to destroy blocking and can move through characters as well, so that's great. And then on a special move power, it's power, move, after resolutions, make a close attack targeting all opposing characters Juggernaut moved through, regardless of adjacency. Instead of normal damage, hit characters are dealt 3 damage and are knocked back in the direction of your choice. So this is very much like the Legacy card version we just took a look at, but you notice here how it specifically says all hit characters are dealt 3 damage. That's what I'm talking about. The other one deals his damage value to all of them. He doesn't have to split it. This one, he's dealing everybody 3. I don't like this as much, though, because he just deals 3, so he's not dealing nearly as much damage as he could, and it's only characters he moved through, so it's not anybody he's adjacent to or anything like that at the end of it, which means he has to move, you know, all the way through them, so potentially might not be able to get through all the characters or something. But yeah, I mean, still pretty good, and then knocking them back in the direction of your choice can get some good knockback damage in there as well. So that is nice, but I kind of feel like for this one, I'd almost rather have charge, at least as an option. If it was like charge and then power to do this other thing, that would be really awesome too. But regardless, that is his only real means of like moving and attacking. So he's still pretty solid. I like him a lot, except I kind of skipped over this part earlier. His second trait also says Juggernaut can't heal, and his combat values can't be modified by opposing characters of less points than himself. So, I mean, it is nice that his combat values can't be modified by lower point characters. They can't just perplex him down. That's great. But it's really the can't heal part. Honestly, as soon as I read that for the first time, I was kind of like, wow, I don't like this Juggernaut anymore. After kind of looking at him again, I realized, yes, he is still very good. Does still take a lot to actually get damage to stick to this guy, because the Impervious on a 4-6, that Safeguard Outwit, and even if you deal him penetrating damage, he's only going to take 1 unavoidable instead. So, and you know, with the 20 defense, he's very, very hard to hit in the first place. You can't even perplex him down. But yeah, I think with this guy, the power action to move thing isn't great. I'd rather just charge and hit somebody for the 5 damage that he has at top dial with the super strength, which you can, of course, give him like a motorcycle to give him that option. But yeah, I don't know. He's just a little weird. And like I said, he has the X-Men team ability and he can't heal. What's up with that? He can use it to heal other characters, sure, but why would you use your 225-point character or even 145-point character to heal a lesser point character? I don't know why you would do that. Yeah, and just having it would normally mean he could be healed, but he can't heal. So I almost feel like it should say, like, Juggernaut can't heal except by the X-Men team ability or something, so they would make it, like, very hard to heal him. You'd have to commit to the X-Men team ability, which is hurting one of your other characters usually. So, I mean, I feel like that would be pretty great. If that was true, I would bump him up at least to number 3 on the list. But anyway, he's still a very, very powerful version of Juggernaut. I do like him a lot. He is very hard to injure. He just can't heal any of that back. So if you do get any damage on him, it will at least stay there. And again, I just wish he had charge as an option built in without having to use another equipment or, you know, one shot or something like that to give it to him. But regardless, like I said, very awesome version of Juggernaut. Love the sculpt, actually. One of my favorite Juggernaut sculpts. Love him running through the wall. But for all those reasons, he's coming in at number 4 for me. Coming in at number 3, I have the uncommon giant size 2x2 Juggernaut from the X-Men animated series Dark Phoenix Saga set. This guy is nuts, and he's honestly only gotten so much better from some rules changes. He again has the Brotherhood of Mutants team ability, which in his case is actually very important. So in case you didn't know what it was the first 2 times I mentioned it, whenever they hit an opposing character with an attack roll of 10 through 12 after resolutions, you can remove an action token from them. And that's very important because of his first trait here. Once per turn, when an effect other than clearing removes an action token from Juggernaut after resolutions, heal him 1 click. So if he ever hits with a 10 or higher, he can remove an action token and heal a click. He's got improved movement characters and destroys blocking. He is coming in at 300, 200, or 100 points. Personally, I like all of his dials. I think they all are very much worth their points. Also, so this guy is giant size, and coming back to this first trait here, now that giant size grants willpower on a 3 to 6, and now that willpower actually is what it is now, where you can roll a d6 and potentially remove an action token, that is an effect besides clearing that would remove an action token. So every time this guy hits willpower, he is healing a click from that first trait. And he's got willpower on a 3 to 6 from being giant size. So that is just nuts. You have essentially like a 2 out of 3 chance every turn to remove a token and heal a click. With a dial as long as his, that's pretty insane. And then moving on to the rest of his stuff here, he's got another trait that gives him super strength. And when Juggernaut is given a move action after resolutions, destroy all adjacent pieces of blocking terrain, then he can use Quake at no cost. So Quake as free, basically. But yeah, he can just full move and then free Quake everybody. And he's got pretty long movement, 12 to start with at 300. And he's got giant reach for that Quake as well. So yeah, just insane, reach. He can just full move 12 squares up. Given that he's starting from square 2, he could move all the way up into square 14, and then with giant reach, he could hit to square 16, which, if you didn't know, is an entire small map now. So now that this maps are smaller, he has full map reach with that effect. So that is just very nice to have on his own without any assistance, which, I mean, you're not really getting any if you're playing him at 300, but I think that just makes him so much more worth the 300 points. So yeah, very good. And then you also have another trait that if Juggernaut destroyed 3 or more pieces of blocking terrain during his actions after resolutions, remove an action token from him. So not only does he have the willpower to remove his tokens, he's also got this ability and the team ability. He's 3 different ways to remove his own action tokens, and he heals every time he does it. So again, absolutely nuts. And last but not least, he's got Colossal Stamina on his special defense power, which also gives him Invincible and Protected, In-Cap, Mind Control, Outwit, and Pulse Wave. And it's all caps protected, so that's actually Safeguard now. So he's Safeguard, In-Cap, Mind Control, Outwit, and Pulse Wave. You can't even target him with Outwit. You can't target him with Pulse Wave. You can't Mind Control him or In-Cap him at all. And he has that defense power for like half his freaking dial. He even starts with it on all of his starting lines. So yeah, that is such a powerful special defense power to have. Colossal Stamina, if you don't know, if you already have 2 action tokens, you can still take an action and you just don't clear your action tokens at the end of the turn, and you take an unavoidable damage after you take the action. So even if somehow all those 3 different ways he has to remove tokens don't work, he can still just do something anyway. So yeah, this dude's absolutely nuts. He's only gotten even stronger with age, which is very rare in this game. And for all those reasons, for me, he's coming in at number 3. Coming in at number 2 for Juggernaut, I have the champion-designed Juggernaut from the House of X set. This dude's still easily one of the best Juggernauts. Again, Brotherhood of Mutant team ability. A lot of good keywords there. He's got this trait, which gives him Colossal Stamina. So like we just said, even if he's got 2 tokens, he can still keep going. And he also has the ability to reduce penetrating damage, and he's Protected Outwit, or actually Safeguard Outwit. So that one trait gives him everything you really need right there. Colossal Stamina, Safeguard Outwit, and can reduce penetrating damage. And when he starts with a 19 Impervious, he's got some pretty good damage reducers there. 12 attack, 5 damage, 13 movement that can destroy blocking terrain, again, is great. And taking a look at that special move power, it does give him charge, and when Juggernaut uses it, you may choose to not half his speed value. If you do, he can use improved movement characters and can only move in a direct path. And if Juggernaut used charge during your last turn, he can't become immobile. So that means your opponent can never immobilize him, which is very Juggernaut. This is a very Juggernaut effect to have. Nothing can stop the Juggernaut after all. Of course, why would you be able to make him immobile? And yeah, not halving his speed with a 13 movement charge is nuts. Just having to go in a straight line. He can ignore characters, he can destroy blocking. If you do manage to make him giant size or in some other way give him improved movement for elevation, it's great because then he can just go through everything. So yeah, he's incredibly mobile. Upping his speed value a little bit, TKing him or giving him sidestep, and he can easily reach the edge of the map on the new smaller maps. He also has a special defense power with stop, impervious, but succeeds on a 4 to 6. Again, that's amazing when he can reduce penetrating damage. And yeah, he also has a special damage power, which gives him Battle Fury, and opposing characters within 4 squares can't use Stop, Leadership, or Perplex. If they already use Perplex, it temporarily doesn't apply. So yeah, shutting off Perplex, Leadership, and Stop clicks within 4, and Battle Fury, of course, means he can't be given an action token by an opposing effect, can't be mind controlled, and of course, can ignore shape change as well. So this guy's got a lot going on. He can get all the way across the map super far. He can do a ton of damage with 12 attack super strength and 5 damage naturally. Battle Fury to ignore shape change. And on top of that, he can just go straight through stop clicks as well. Being able to shut them off is amazing. Colossal Stamina, can't be penetrating damage, protected outwit. The 2018 champion Tyler Spees did an amazing job designing this figure, I think, because it does do a great job of, you know, everything the Juggernaut can and should do. So I think this is one of the most definitive versions. I think you can tell in the dial here he really likes Juggernaut because he did a great job of representing him here. My only gripe with him is that he is coming in at 175 or 100 points, and he has kind of a short dial. That's just kind of how things are now. You know, he's kind of, his point value's a little bit higher than it should be for the modern age, but in Silver Age games, he still holds up pretty well. I do just wish he had a little bit more life in him. Maybe another stop click or just a couple more clicks of life or something. I think he would be great, or just knock his points down a little bit. A legacy card for this guy would be amazing. Just do the exact same thing, knock like 50 points off him or something. I don't know, but a very, very awesome version of the Juggernaut. Still one of my favorites to this day, and for all those reasons, he's coming in at number 2. As always, before we get to my number 1 pick, I have a few honorable mentions to talk about. Now, I did talk a lot about these Juggernaut figures, so I'll try to make this quick. The 2 from the Uncanny X-Men, one of them did get the Legacy card. The original version's still pretty cool, and like I said, it has this really fun ability with his helmet coming off, and then the rare version, which is in like the gray armor, is very similar, does a lot of cool stuff as well. There's the Danger Room Construct Juggernaut, which doesn't count because it's not actually him, but the Danger Room constructs were always really cool, and I just kind of like that idea, and it's still a very decent representation of Juggernaut. He has Leap Climb, and if he's given a move action after resolutions, he can make a close attack, so he just has full speed, make a close attack. He can also destroy blocking terrain as he moves through it, and yeah, pretty solid dial. And he's got the whole Danger Room Construct trait, which makes him pretty hard to deal damage to. And last but not least, there's the super rare Juggernaut from the Giant Size X-Men set. And honestly, I think this dude could get a Legacy card. Besides his low defense values, he's still pretty solid if they just kind of cut his points in half, or cut him down to like a third, maybe. But yeah, he's got a full move charge. He ignores terrain, and it can automatically break away. And he's got this cool trait that gives him a helmet token, which gives him defense +1, and can't be targeted by Incap, Mind Control, or Penetrating Blast. If he takes 3 or more damage, remove the token. I think that's another really fun way to, you know, show his helmet and everything. So yeah, he's a really great one, and definitely worth an honorable mention as well. But I think that's about all of them that are really worth mentioning. So without further ado, let's get to my number 1 pick. All right, and I'm sure you guys have guessed it by now, but coming in at number 1 for me is the Collector's Trove Juggernaut. Once again, same as always, he's got a pretty decent keyword selection and the Brotherhood of Mutants team ability. He's got a trait that Juggernaut can reduce penetrating damage and has Safeguard Outwit. Again, very useful. And then he's got charge but don't have speed on his movement power, which he's got most of his dial. He's got like an 8-click long dial. He's coming in at only 80 points. He does also ignore elevation terrain for movement purposes. You might notice he doesn't ignore blocking because this one is supposed to be played with the Crimson Gem. He comes with it. He is very much supposed to be equipped with it. So that gives him super strength, and improved movement destroys blocking. And it also gives you Safeguard Mind Control, which is kind of more like what the helmet does, I feel like, but I don't know. Regardless, it's still very cool and, you know, gives him all those great bonuses as well. And looking at his dial, you got 10 movement to start with that full speed charge, 12 attack, 19 impervious that can reduce penetrating damage, and a safeguard outwit, 4 damage. And then taking a look at that special attack power, it gives him Giant Reach 2, and then make a close attack. After resolutions, deal 2 damage to each adjacent opposing character. If Juggernaut destroyed terrain this turn, the damage dealt is penetrating. I think it's important to note that if you're taking that close action, it's to make this close attack and then deal extra damage after, so you can't also take a close action to use terrain. That would be 2 different actions, so you can't use his super strength to hit somebody if you're going to use this. Same thing if you like somehow were to give him flurry, he wouldn't be able to flurry and do this. You'd have to pick which close action you're giving him to do what. But also, having Giant Reach 2, as awesome and useful as that is, does not count for the after resolutions damage, because that's not an attack. So Giant Reach 2 only gives you that reach for, you know, making close attacks. When this thing that says after resolutions deal 2 damage to each adjacent opposing character, it's looking for actually adjacent opposing characters. So the Giant Reach doesn't help there. But regardless of that, I think smashing through a wall with a 10 speed charge and, you know, hitting something for your normal damage value and then doing 2 free damage, potentially penetrating damage to everybody else next to you, is very useful still. And if you don't use that, I mean, you could always just bust through something and use a terrain to use his own Giant Reach of 2, or maybe sometimes the terrain has Giant Reach of 3 or 4 or something you can use. So he has incredible reach, and being able to actually go over elevation without stopping and bust through walls without stopping gives him like the most maneuverability ever. He doesn't have to charge in a direct line or anything either, so that's also really good. And yeah, a solid 8 clicks of reduced penetrating, safeguard outwit, damage reducers is great, and he's a solid 80 points, so he's not, you know, breaking the bank there. He does give you some good room on your team. So yeah, I think this guy is just kind of the best as for what the points give you. He does so much for the points, just a very, very solid version of Juggernaut, and I love the equipment he comes with. So for all those reasons, he's coming in at number 1 for me. All right, you guys, that about does it for this top 5 list. Especially with this list, I could see any one of the 5 characters on this list being anybody's favorite. They're all amazing versions of the character. Juggernaut fans are eating great right now. We have so many epic versions of him. I think every version on this list does him justice. This is just my personal opinion. Let me know your thoughts and opinions in the comments below. As always, if you enjoyed the video, don't forget to smash that like button and click that subscribe button so you don't miss any future videos. And if you'd like to help support the channel even more, you can check the links in the description for the Patreon, where you can see your name here in the credits with all these other awesome people. And as little as $1 a month gets you entered into my monthly giveaways. So check that out if that interests you. But that's going to do it for this one. Thanks again so much for watching. Till next time, this has been Heroclix Headquarters, signing off.